Hi, my name is Tomasz and you're watching Casual DIY channel. And in today's video I'll be talking about all the basics you need to know on how to use an electric planer. Check out the video. Right then, let's get into it straight away then, shall we? Before we actually get into how to use this tool correctly, we'll have a look how it's built and what features it may have. Alright, so let's have a look how this tool is built. Let's start from underneath the machine itself. As you can see, that's the front shoe of the machine. This is adjustable. It will go higher or lower depending on what depth of cut you want. This is the cutting head. As you can see, it's got some blades. I've got a system with 2 blades, just like so. And that is the rear shoe. That is not adjustable, it stays in place as is. Now this model is from Silverline, is very basic and very cheap. Hence I don't have any features that are built into this machine to prevent me from putting the tool on the blade, resting the tool on the blade. Hence I always get a piece of scrap wood and place it like so. So the blade underneath will not touch my workbench or anything like that. It rests like so. That will prevent any chip out of the blades I've got in the cutting head. However, with models that are a bit more expensive from better makes, you may have some features like at the back sometimes you get like a small foot over here that will hold the tool like so under an angle, and that will allow for the blade not to touch the surface. Now as you can see in the front foot we actually got a groove just over here. This will allow you to do some chamfer cuts. So basically if you got a corner of your board, it goes just like so and it allows you to cut a chamfer. Depending on what angle you're going to be holding your machine, that's what you're going to be achieving. But we'll have a look at that a bit later on. At the top of the machine over here, as you can see, we've got a knob. It serves 2 purposes. First of all, it will allow you to change the depth of cut of your planer. That means it will lower or it will raise the front foot plate. So as you turn it, you will make the cut deeper. And the indicator is just right here, and you've got the scale over here. The second purpose of this knob is actually to put some pressure as you're making the cut itself. So basically it works like a handle. One arm is on the handle over here, the other arm is at the front of the machine. This will allow you to do the cut safely and properly, but we'll get to the technique how to use this machine in just a few moments. Most of the planers come with some sort of an edge guide as well, and that's the case in this really cheap Silverline. It attaches right to the side over here with just a bolt like that, and now this will guide your planer on the board, on the workpiece you're currently working on. We also got the main handle just over here to maneuver and move about with the tool. It also comes with the trigger and a safety pin over here, so you won't be able to turn on the machine unless you actually press the safety pin, and now you're able to use the machine. On the other side of the machine you've got the dust port over here, the chip extractor. You always make sure that this is away from your body unless you actually hooked up to a vacuum. If not, the chips could actually hit you, go into your eyes, anything like that. So make sure you always wear protection glasses, but also always make sure that this is away from your body. Now before we actually gonna start using this tool, it's like any other power tool. Think about your safety, what safety equipment you should be wearing to prevent any injuries. In this case it's a loud machine. I'm going to use some hearing protection. On top of that, flying chips from the planing could hurt your eyes. eye protection. On top of it, obviously it creates a lot of dust, so you may consider using a mask of some sort to not inhale all the dust. Fortunately enough, I will be able to hook up my shop vac to this tool, so I'm not too bad there. However, on top of it, in this case, it's a fairly dangerous tool with an exposed blade just over here that spins really quickly. So you need to think about where you're going to place your hands, how you're going to secure your workpiece, that it doesn't move on you. On top of that, don't wear any saggy clothes or anything that can be dragged into the blades, as that is just asking for an accident. So before you use it, think about your safety. Now, very often these types of tools are actually used to plane rough sawn boards or reclaimed timber. Now, I'm going to give you a very quick tip if you're a beginner in this. In the reclaimed timber, anything like that, you can actually find pieces of metal, screws or nails. Now, obviously that's really bad for the blades of your planer. So get yourself a really strong magnet, and what you do before planing, just use the magnet and go around the perimeter of the board, everywhere where you're going to be planing. This will indicate if there is any metal that you need to be concerned of. Really simple trick, but it can save the blades of your power tools. Alright, so we've got two handles, one at the knob at the front and then the main handle at the back. To start off, we need to put pressure on the front knob. Establish what depth of cut you want, and you can proceed by pushing the planer forward. Before you do that, make sure the motor is turned on at full speed, full RPMs, and then go through. Make sure not to lean to the back of the machine, as you will just damage your workpiece. Make sure to put all the pressure at the front and just carry on through. When the whole planer is on the board, you can release the pressure from the front knob and just continue applying the pressure to the main handle. As you get to the end of the board, make sure to actually release the pressure. If you were still applying some pressure at the front knob, make sure to take that pressure off and just focus on the main handle of the machine. If you were applying too much pressure when you get to the end of the board at the front of the machine, we're just going to create a big gouge in your workpiece. So make sure to take the pressure off the front of the machine and just place it at the main handle of the planer and just carry on through. Okay, so let's have a go. Turn on the machine to full RPMs. Make sure you put pressure at the front of the machine and carry on through, making sure you're steady and straight. As the whole planer is on the board, you can release the pressure from the front knob and just carry on through your workpiece right until you get to the end. At this point, you just need to release the pressure from the front knob and just carry on. Make sure that it doesn't tilt forward. And repeat the process until you're happy with the results, or when your workpiece is nice, flat and straight. Now I'm going to show you what will happen with the machine if you put too much pressure at the back handle as you're approaching your board. And as you can see, it basically eats a lot of material at the front of your board, making your board uneven and slopey to the front of the board. So we need to make sure that does not happen. So holding the planer in a correct way is the key to great results. Now let's have a look what will happen if you put too much pressure at the front of the machine when approaching the end of your board. Look at that. That is a massive snipe at the back of your board. And that's just the cause of putting too much pressure at the front of your machine rather than releasing that pressure and focusing on the back handle of the planer. Look at that massive snipe. I have mentioned at the start of the video the groove that's in the front foot plate. That's basically to make some chamfers on the edges of your boards. Now I'm going to show you how that works in practice. Make sure that the groove of the front of the planer is located on the edge of your board and just make the pass. Depending on what angle you're going to be holding your planer, that's what the chamfer will look like in the end. And now I'm just going to do a couple of passes so you can see the end result or what you can achieve with this planer. And that's the result. I hope you can see that correctly, the chamfer that we managed to create with the planer on this board. And there's one more thing, a very important thing I need to mention to you when using this particular tool. A little goes a long way. So basically you need to try to remove as little material as possible. Thanks to that, you're going to have far more control on the tool itself, and in the end it will give you the best results. If taking too much material with this tool, it will be for you just a lot harder to keep it straight and level, but also it can just be very dangerous. Now that's all the things I wanted to share with you about this particular tool. If you're in the market of buying one, I'm actually going to drop a couple of links down below in the description of this video to Amazon, and you can have a look. And if you decide to purchase anything of my links, thank you very much. They are affiliated links, and in that way you're just going to support the channel, plus you're going to get a great tool. So a bit of a win-win situation there. If you think that my video was informative and you got something out of it, please drop me that like button down below. And if you were new to my channel, consider subscribing to it and changing that bell notification to all, as there is a lot more videos coming on how to use basic tools in a workshop for beginners woodworkers or beginners DIYers. So make sure to do that as well so you don't miss any of my future video. But for now guys, that's all. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Take care.